Hey, welcome. In this video, I'm going to just introduce Scratch programming, kind of how to use it, what the website looks like, and kind of go over some of the things that kids struggle with as we first start using this during the normal school year. So when you click the link in Google Classroom, it will take you to this website. This is the Scratch website. It was a program developed years ago at this point by MIT. They continue updating it, so as we're using this, even over the course of the time we're working on it, you might see some minor changes happen. But basically what it is, it's a way of learning coding without knowing how to type code. It teaches you the concepts of coding, kind of very, very similar to what we did with the microbit stuff. You'll just get to learn some new concepts and kind of figure some new things out and make something hopefully pretty cool at the end. So where you begin is you have to join Scratch. This is important because you can't submit your work unless you join. Now a couple things you'll need. You'll need an email address. You should have one already from signing up for Onshape in the beginning of the year. And then the other things you need to know are when you create a username, it has to be school appropriate for a couple reasons. Obviously, I'll be upset, but the other thing is that Scratch will flag you if you have an inappropriate name and they'll delete your account. So make sure that you use a real email address because you're going to need to verify it and make sure your username is appropriate. After you're done signing up, you will be on this screen here and you'll go to sign in and you'll type in username and password and it'll take you here. This is kind of like their little home page. Where you guys will click it first is on this Create tab at the top. You always see these at the top. So I'll go over some of these tabs at the top here to kind of help you out. So here's kind of where you build things. Again, you notice it looks very similar to the microbit thing. In fact, I think they share the same technology as they're using these things. So hopefully this will kind of come a little bit easier to you. And where we want to go is to tutorials. You only see this once you hit that Create button from the home page of Scratch. So when you go on this, you don't have to do all of these tutorials. You may end up doing some extras as you build your game just to learn how to do certain things. Like for example, you might need to learn how to make a character move side to side and up and down. I may not have you do this, use arrow keys one, but you might want to click on that and go through it real quick to kind of learn how those commands work so that you can make whatever type of game you end up making. So everybody's going to learn something a little different doing this project. So anyway, let's start with this getting started one. When you do that, what it does is it brings up this tutorial for you, this box. You can move this around wherever you'd like it. And what it's going to do in this particular one, some of these have this, some of these don't. In the beginning, it'll show you a little video kind of showing you what's going on.
Add an event block to run it.
You can see I'm just kind of jumping around in the video here. I already had that video playing before, that's why I didn't start at the beginning. So anyway, it'll kind of show you a little overview in this case of what Scratch does. You hit this little next arrow and it'll show you what to do. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is find move. Notice they're color coded just like they were in the microbit stuff. So I'm going to move 10 steps, say hello for 2 seconds. Now I notice that that one's purple. So I'm going to go to looks, say hello for 2 seconds. Now this area over here is your actual gameplay area. So if I hit the play button, I'll see, or I'm sorry, there's nothing triggering this yet if you remember that from the microbit thing. So I think I can click on here, and each time I click on here it'll execute this little chunk of code, and I can take this cat and kind of move him around too. So if he starts moving too far to the right, I can kind of grab him and drag him. So anyway, I've done that step. I would move on to the next one. When start is clicked, so I notice the color here. So that's an event. It's a thing that's going to trigger all this to happen. Again, going back to the stuff we talked about with the microbit. Now when I click the flag, it goes. So you can see these tutorials are pretty easy, and it just, there you go, that quick. We learned, we're done that one. We learned these couple things that we can do. Again, from doing the microbit stuff, you can edit some of these things and change numbers. Also, you guys may learn a lot just kind of playing around, looking at the different options that you have for the code here because you're familiar with some of these. Then when you're done, what you want to do, or even before you're done, is hit this orange share button. This one's important because if you don't click this, no one else is going to be allowed to go to your link. So if I click this, it simply just tells me congratulations on sharing your project. Other people can now try it out and all that. So here's the link that you're going to need to give me to prove that you did this tutorial. You would just copy this, and then you would go to the assignment in Classroom and you would add a link and just paste that link in. So again, Control C, Control V, Command C, Command V is copy paste. You can also do it through right clicking. So that is kind of a basic overview of Scratch. if I want to continue working on this after I share it, I just have to go to see inside. This is kind of what the game looks like to other people without seeing the code. Every time I click start, he moves a little bit to the right and says hello. So if I go to see inside, it brings me back to where we were. Now let's say as you're working on these things, you accidentally closed out the tutorial. All you have to do is click on the word tutorial again and go back to the one that you were on. And it pulls this thing back up, and then you can just kind of tap through and get back to wherever you were in the tutorial. You can also click on, they took that away. You used to be able to click on these little dots to jump from step to step. So you just kind of click back and forth to get back to where you were. If you start something and you don't finish it that day, which is obviously going to happen when we go to make our independent games, there's this little folder up here once you log in. If you click on that folder, now if you notice it's saying changes won't be saved. I haven't really made any changes since I was last working on this, since we hit share. The changes do save kind of automatically. It just sort of warns you, you know, the last couple things you might do might not have gotten saved yet. There is no real way to save or anything. It just automatically kind of saves as you go. So anyway, when you click that folder, that will take you to all of your stuff. Now you can see I've made a decent amount of different things over the years here, kind of learning the program myself and just working with the kids. Let's click kind of randomly here. Here is a game I made, looks like last year. And I can hit the start button and you'll see this game play, and what happens is it's like a dragster game where, you know, green light turns on, player 1 hits spacebar, player 2 hits the down arrow, it records your reaction time and those kind of things. Now this game's fairly complicated if you look inside here. Different objects will end up having different code written to them. So, you know, you'll get into all that, but for now, start simple with these tutorials, kind of complete them, and then that will make it much, much easier when you go to create your own game. So again, some of the key things, you have to hit the share button in order for people to see your stuff. If you lose your stuff, click the arrow, and that will let you get back. You can see when you edited something. You can also see the name of it. So let me show you how to change that. If we go to see inside on this game here, I can give it a name right here. So I could call this Getting Started. And again, it just takes me right back to where I was. So after I share, I can copy and paste that link and put it in Google Classroom.